news tonight. Ex-Security Minister General Eli Tumwine, who died on Thursday, will be buried on Tuesday next week.
Great commitment, sacrifice, discipline and hard work.
President Museveni urges public servants to work with competence and accountability. Niger has decided to use chemicals to induce rain in response to drought.
Great ball in!
And in sports, Liverpool has echoed the biggest victory in Premier League history. A very good evening to you and welcome to CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Luchamuzi on Sign Language. In our top story tonight, ex-Security Minister General Eli Tumwine, who died in Nairobi, Kenya, will be buried on Tuesday next week. According to the Army spokesman, Brigadier Felix Kulaije, General Tumwine will be buried at Rebikoma in Kazo District. The details. General Eli Tumwine's body was airlifted from Nairobi, Kenya yesterday evening on a chartered flight. It was received by top government officials, senior army officers and relatives at Entebbe International Airport. According to the official burial arrangements, there will be an official vigil in General Tumwine's home in Nakasero, Kampala at 4 p.m. On Monday, August 29th, the body will then be taken to Kololo Independence Grounds for prayers and public viewing. It will be transported to Rebikona in Kazo District, where the burial will take place.
We are going to have national prayers at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds, and it will be from Kololo Ceremonial Grounds that we shall fly the body to his ancestral home for burial. Like I said the other time, he will get full honors of the military, and that's why the body will be flown, not driven.
Kulaije described Tumwine as a hero not only for his participation in the armed struggle that brought the current government in power, but also for his role in building the UPDF.
This uniform, he participated in designing the uniform we have. So the clothing committee would interact with General Tumwine. The defense review of 2003 had him contribute a lot. And of course, the fact that he has been fervently defending our presence in Parliament. You know, there was an attempt to throw us out of Parliament in 2007. General Tumwine fervently defended the UPDF presence in Parliament successfully. So, for us, we shall always remember him as a freedom fighter, as a teacher, as a mentor.
The four-star general was among the 33 generals who were scheduled to retire on August 31st this year. Kulaije says General Tumwine will be retired posthumously, and everything that he was entitled to as a retired general will be given to his family.
Generals alone are 33, and the other senior officers as well. And therefore, and he was number one on the list. So true, we are going to miss him retiring, ending his career in the military formally. At least he should have survived to end it. Unfortunately, it has not happened, but still we shall retire him posthumously.
General Eli Tumwine joined the resistance in 1979. He trained as an officer cadet at Monduli, Tanzania. He is believed to have fired the first shot at Kabamba Barracks on the 6th of February 1981, when the then National Resistance Army made its maiden attack. May the general continue to rest in peace. Moving on, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has urged public servants to work with vigor and competence because they serve the interests of Ugandans. Museveni's message was delivered by Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo at the launch of a book titled Unchained, that was authored by Pius Bigiramana, the Permanent Secretary of the Judiciary. Take a look.
According to Bigirimane, Unchained aims at changing the mindset of civil servants while dealing serving citizens. Bijirimana says there is need for serious induction of civil servants to appreciate that they are on duty to serve citizens, not themselves.
What type of mind do you have when you are in the job? Are you positive? Do you think out of the box? Or you are a slave of failure? Things are not possible. Even when they give you assignment,
He called for competitiveness in public service to improve service delivery, adding that without the mindset of competitiveness, incompetence takes root in public offices.
That there is no money to perform their duties. I have said I appreciate, but the attitude must change. I propose a return to the past colonial system of the public service framework orientation, not for nostalgic reasons, no, but for a tested and true framework that once worked.
The book, according to Bijirimana, highlights standard operating procedures to guide public servants in the execution of their work.
Doing what ought not to be done and leaving what ought to be done undone. And this is the work that has been going on in the public service, where you had some people creating positions of directors to fight with commissioners. Why? Mandate migration.
Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo, who launched the book, urged public servants to be diligent.
Writing a book is a demanding task which requires great commitment, sacrifice, discipline, and hard work on the part of the author. I commend Pius Bigirimana for sharing his insights on how to improve public service delivery in Uganda. The yardstick for measuring the relevance of the public service is the degree to which it is responsive to the interests of the population.
Julius Caesar Seremba, the book's auditor, says the book is an overall knowledge bank that should be used by all public servants. The head of public service, Lucina Chobembonye, appreciated Bijura's creativity to influence the mentality of public servants while in office.
Of the development of the public service in Uganda and what motivated the reforms that have taken place in the public service. He also discussed the need for the public servant to adopt a private sector mindset for performance improvement.
Bijirimana is the author of Youth Livelihood, From Tears to Chairs, Abundance in Mentality, and Corruption, a tale of wolves in sheep's clothing.
Political leaders and Pan-Africanists have been tasked to embrace unity as the biggest pillar for development. Bunya East Member of Parliament, who is speaking at the 9th anniversary of the Pan-African Global Awards, says without unity, development cannot take root. The details.
Pan-Africanism is a worldwide movement that focuses on encouraging the black race with African ancestry to unite. Based on a common goal, dating back to the Atlantic slave trade, the movement extends beyond continental Africans with a substantial support base among the African diaspora in the America and Europe. Every year, in Uganda, Pan-Africanists celebrate the incense of this movement by awarding those who have exhibited the real African spirit. During this year's event at Fairway Hotel, Bunya East Member of Parliament, who represented the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, said, Pan-Africanism knows no border, which means Ugandans should embrace it.
This is the time that we must protect. And whoever said that Africa contributes to 40% of the world's wealth, not so? I agree with you. So we can only achieve this if we spoke the same language without fear or favor. Identification of the Africanism. Of course, there are places that when we are at universities, Some others tend to speak English, but the moment I know you're from my region, I will actually shame you and speak out clearly the language.
He says members of parliament in Uganda and other political leaders need to focus on practical issues to boost incomes of Ugandans across the country.
The issue of Pan-Africanism is something that we took long. So time is now for us to act. We have the Pan-African Parliament, and this is the time that we must put to task for these people to spread Pan-Africanism to the doorsteps. And Honorable Alex Rwanda, I think you and me can initiate that on the floor of the House.
Other Pan-Africans at the event also had divergent views.
So we need to revamp, exert, and find our knowledge bases that must counter the threats for our future existence.
A famous statement was made with the clear knowledge that many Africans living on the African continent suffered under the yoke of European colonial rule.
PM Edition returns shortly with more stories after the break.
Do you love me?
Very much.
I'll catch you one day. Pants down.
I want to spoil you. I want you to eat my money.
She believes I'm in love with her guy. Nico? If I had to live everywhere I'm not loved, where would I end up? The dirty guy hides in the hospital for 40 years, but at night, he walks the streets, commits crimes, and then he comes back and pretends to be alive again.
I will break you, Spooky.
Do not answer any question about Roho kwa Roho. It's your brain!
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
Welcome back to CTV PM Edition with me, Melissa Mboha, and Isaac Ruchamuzi on Sign Language. Moving on, Residents of Bujuko and Nswanjere in Muduma sub-county in PG district are enduring a power blackout after a power line in the area was vandalized. They accuse Umeme of not responding to their plight. Those who operate businesses in the area say they have made losses since their operations depend on electricity. Take a look.
Tumaze omwezi mulamba ekyalo Nswanjire Mulumbo mugomulayi Mugumba ekina musanyalaze emiti gyasalibwa waya ne zibbibwa naye nga tulina okafu nti abakikola bakampuni yennyini teri muntu welulumba alina busobozi busala masanyalaze free phase n'abakikola bali mu kampuni mwennyini eya Umeme.
Masanyalaze tetulina masanyalaze wiki bbiri tetukola saluni nzigale efiriji zaffe zifa
tuli bizinesi zaffe zifa obutunda buvundidde mu friji soda kakyatambula amazzi tegatambula tulina okuzzayo abaana ku masomero kyokka tetulina we tugenda kujja ssente balandiroodi batubanja.
In the regional news, clashes between rival militia groups in Libya erupted in the capital Tripoli on Saturday, and Niger has decided to use chemicals to induce rain in response to the drought that has caused a severe food crisis in the country this year. Now, due to the drought and jihadist violence that has prevented farmers from cultivating their fields, Niger is facing a serious food crisis. Take a look.
Supporters of Haitham al-Tajuri, the leader of the Tripoli Revolutionaries Brigade, fought with armed groups linked to militia leader Abdel Ghani al-Kikli. Witnesses say al-Tajuri's TRP defeated al-Kikli's forces to take control of the internal security headquarters, hold 3 people, and seize several cars. Libya has faced a conflict and instability since a NATO backup uprising killed the former dictator Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The country was divided by rival administrations, one in the east under military commander Khalifa Hifter, and a UN-supported administration in the capital of Tripoli in the west. Al-Kikli supports Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Deiba, while Al-Tajuri backs Fathi Bashaga, who was appointed rival minister by the country's east-based parliament and is now operating a separate administration out of the city of Sart. Local media reported that the coastal road linking the cities of Al-Khoms and Zlatan was closed as forces from Misrata affiliated with rival Prime Minister Faith Bashaga moved towards Tripoli. The government of Niger has decided to use chemicals to induce rain in response to the drought that has caused a severe food crisis in the country this year. AFP learned Thursday from the Meteorological Department. The technology of induced rain involves using an aircraft to introduce chemicals into the clouds, including a mixture of silver, sodium, and acetone. The director of the Niger Meteorology Department, Gaptia Lawan, who is piloting the operation with the Malian consortium EB Air, says it was necessary to act on this problem of drought in order to have many more days of rain and at the same time increase the quantity of rain. In addition to the drought in several regions, other regions are affected by severe floods that have killed 53 people, affected 87,942, and injured 74, according to the latest official figures. Due to the drought and jihadist violence that has prevented farmers from cultivating their fields, Niger is facing a serious food crisis this year. According to the government, more than 4.4 million people are severely food insecure, or about 20% of the population. The rate of acute malnutrition among children is likely to be 12.5%, exceeding the emergency threshold of 10% set by the World Health Organization.
On the international scene, thousands of people who live in areas under threat of flooding in some parts of Pakistan have been told to evacuate. Aid agencies say current floods have led to one of the country's worst disasters as the heaviest monsoon rains in decades continue. While in Iran, women have officially attended a domestic league football match for the first time since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, state media says. Take a look.
Nearly 1,000 people have died since June, while thousands have been displaced and millions more affected. The government has been forced to declare a state of emergency in some parts of the country. Southern Pakistan has been hardest hit by the rains, particularly Sindh province, which has received nearly 8 times its average August rainfall. Information Minister Mariam Aurangzeb said soldiers and rescue organizations were helping people to reach safety in many districts in Sindh, as well as in the eastern Punjab and southwestern Balochistan provinces. The country director for aid agency Islamic Relief Worldwide, Asif Shirazi, told the BBC about the scale of the problem. On Friday, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said 33 million people had been hit by the floods, about 15% of the population. The country has appealed for more international aid. Officials blame the devastation on man-made climate change. About 500 are thought to have been at the game at Azadi Stadium in Tehran on Thursday night. Women have effectively been barred from domestic matches where men are playing due to clerical disapproval under the Shia Muslim regime. The last men's match they watched was a World Cup qualifier 3 years ago. At the time, authorities relented following an outcry after the death of a 29-year-old, Sahar Kodayari, who set herself on fire while awaiting trial for trying to attend a game disguised as a man. Kodayari became known as the Blue Girl because of the team she supported and a symbol of the struggle for women's rights in Iran. Several Iranian websites said the decision to allow women into the game on Thursday came after football's world governing body FIFA sent a letter to Iranian authorities calling on them to permit more women into stadiums. Prohibiting women from games goes against international football statuses. Those who attended the game between home side Istiklal and rival Mesekaman were seated separately to men. Many waved flags, wore their team's colors, and chanted Blue Girl in acknowledgement to Kodayari.
We return shortly with more news from the world of sports.
Three words: convenience, passion, and pride. Introducing the KCCA app made for you to interact with the best football club in Uganda, giving you the latest news, transfers, membership options, merchandise online shop, match ticket booking, and fan zone instant messaging. To download the beta app, go to Google Play Store on your Android and search for KCFC. Download the app, sign up, and voila, you're in. Yes, the app is only available for Android users. iOS users, we are coming soon. The KCCFC app, inspired by you, made for you.
Sometimes in life, we spend all the time trying to live other people's life. And along the way, we lose who we are by copying what other people are doing in their relationship.
You see, from the last time I met your sister, I've not spent a day or a minute without thinking about her.
It's a good surprise on a Monday. This is nice.
So you and him are we're just friends. Wow. Come on.
Just friends.
You either tell me where you're from or you go back to where you've been.
Thinking it would work out for us, but yet to find out that's not who we are after experiencing a great disappointment.
She's in love with some other man, so classy, a gentleman, not poor dogs like you.
These are the mistakes girls do.
Now showing on CTV. Don't blink.
CTV is now on StarTimes. You can now catch all your favorite programs, our daily comprehensive news bulletins, and so much more on StarTimes channel number 248. Stay tuned for a world of endless possibilities. CTV. Don't blink.